Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, where you get information that you can use. I'm your host, Ida Crawford. But before we dive in, subscribe to Just Minding My Business on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Share Just Minding My Business with your family, friends, and colleagues. Engage with us by leaving a review or comment. Your support keeps this podcast going and growing. Visit our website at jmmbmediallc.com to learn how we can support you in getting more visibility on your products and services. Well, I am so happy to bring to Just Minding My Business Stephanie Krevins and her team at the Change Architect. And what she does is she helps companies who are growing, innovating, upskilling, and digitally transforming, but are stuck in the messy middle of change and are having growing pains. They need solutions to get their people and teams to tackle old problems in new ways, break down silos, and get communication and new results flowing again. Girl, you got your work cut out.
Keeps us busy.
I'm sure it does, cause I remember migrating, cause I do IT, and I remember migrating to 365.
Mhm.
What oh my God, what a mess. It was a total mess. We needed you. So, tell us how you got into this business.
Yeah, it is, looking back, hindsight, it all makes sense. In the moment, it doesn't, but way back in 2013, 2014, I was on my 3rd career out of grad school and just found myself feeling like I didn't fit in, and I didn't understand why my hard work wasn't paying off in the way that I thought it should, and, why do I feel so miserable every day? And at that point, I was working for a national nonprofit. I loved the mission. I was frustrated with my colleagues because they didn't move as fast as I did. Turns out 99.9% of the planet doesn't move as fast as I do. So that's a topic for another day, but self-awareness there. And I was actually doing a Salesforce conversion project for them. I was combining 17 Excel files that had been managed by 10 different people over 10 years and an Access database and a separate fundraising database and designing Salesforce, customizing it for our organization and bringing all of that data together cohesively and dumping it into Salesforce and writing the training manual and training my colleagues on how to use Salesforce so that we can manage an alumni group of 40,000 people, tens of thousands of donors, hundreds of program participants every year. And I was miserable. And so I went to go see a life coach and I was like, help me out here. Like, I don't know, like I'm doing stuff I thought I would love and I said yes and I hate it. And within 3 sessions, he helped me be brave enough to say out loud for myself, I'm not meant to be an employee. I have a vision for this world that I want to create, and I don't want to create or implement other people's visions. I want to implement my own vision.
Mm.
The second was, whatever this definition of team playing that we use in organizations, like I physically cannot do it. Like, why do we sit around staff meeting tables every week for an hour and a half and talk around issues and say nothing and like hear each other just word vomit? Like, why do we do this? Um, and when I would call out our organization, I would be like, why do we do this? The answer was, well, you get together and you talk and we give each other updates. Again, why? Why? And if that's supposed to be team playing, I quit. Like I can't do that. I'm here for a purpose and I want to spend every moment of my life on this planet on purpose. And this staff meeting does not meet that criteria. And then the third is how do I take this gift that I have of saying what everyone is thinking, but no one will say out loud, how do I turn that into a strength and an asset? And that's by becoming a coach because coaches get to bring to light what was invisible. They get to help support people in saying what needs to be said in kind ways to themselves and to others. And so I became a trained coach so that I could turn, what was fairly blunt behavior into more diplomatic, more kind, compassionate ways of delivering the same information. And so became a trained coach, started my own business, thought, man, I really want to be a life coach and help people find their purpose like my life coach did for me. And turned out that was not my path. I started doing more executive coaching with small businesses here in Indianapolis. And along the way, because everything is an evolution, right? Like, how do you solve old problems with new ways of thinking? You look at, like, oh, where are we seeing success? And you amplify that. And where I was seeing success was not in the leadership development world like a lot of coaches are in, which is great. It was more applying these principles in the change management world. And then the pandemic hits, and so much focus is on our IT friends, and the help that they need to help the organizations be successful. And so we just started applying our change management principles with our IT friends. And we have been able to create magic in this world and transformation in ways that I never saw coming, 10 years ago, but here we are.
That is so awesome. I've got like over 30 years in the IT industry. And when the pandemic hit, we had to set up the whole company for remote work.
Yep.
What some people didn't know what Wi-Fi was
Yep.
at all. They like, what's that? So it was a lot. This-
Yeah, and IT folks were, like, charged with meeting all these different employees at all these different skill levels, literally in the matter of business days, and, oh, my heart goes out to IT folks during that time because that's
Yes.
stress upon stress.
Yes, it was definitely. So, when you work with your clients, just
Mhm.
give me a picture of what that looks like when you walk into a company.
Yeah, so they're gonna bring us in because they're a year or 2 into a strategic plan and nothing has moved.
Yeah.
They're going like, usually a CIO is gonna give me a ring and be like, "My senior leadership team, like, they can't work together to advance these projects." Like, in their vertical, they might be able to pull off something with their team, but when we're talking across functional areas, they're not working together. So I'm gonna come in, or my colleagues are gonna come in, and we're gonna do an assessment around change readiness, and just look at several cultural factors as it relates to the org structure, communication patterns, the different personalities and different seats on the bus, are they lined up in the way that they're supposed to be in order to drive change? Most of the time, they're not. Most of the time, there's a lot of upskilling that has to happen to get an organization to the place of even beginning to be able to start on their organizational goals, because we put these plans on paper. Yes, that's what the organization needs. Yes, that's what it needs in 5 years or 10 years out based on the vision, but oftentimes where our skill capacity is or capability is at the organizational level, it's 3 and 5 steps behind where we thought we were even gonna start, and so we've gotta close that gap first, and we do that through structured training and development, acknowledging that, yes, you might be an awesome IT person, you might be the best coder on the team, but your necessary skills that you have for working with your colleagues suck, so we're going to have to get you to even be able to work with your colleagues before you all can design a solution. Like, that's step one. Step one is not the I'm an awesome coder. Awesome, great. That's the price of entry nowadays. Step one is, can you communicate with your colleagues so that you can deliver on what the business needs? We can teach you how to do that. It's not because you suck as a human being, it's because you need another skill, and that's okay. Let's fix that. And so we're going to look at upskilling plans. We're going to look at org structure. We're going to look at, how many decisions are flowing through, for example, the CIO on a daily basis that need to get pushed back down to his or her people, and share accountability through multiple levels. Oftentimes we see just way too many organizations where the accountability is only held for delivery at the very top. And the top could be the C suite, the top could be the CIO and his senior team, but the reality is We need way more people, way more levels holding the accountability in our organizations, and we can teach folks how to do that.
Yes, indeed. I'm glad you talked about the working together piece because I mean, I work with people um you couldn't work with them. You just couldn't work with them.
Yes.
And it's like it made it so difficult, more difficult than it needed to be because
Yeah.
the person was quote unquote a a-hole. That's the only way I can describe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. And Ida, what I've had to learn is because we do trainings on how to work with difficult people. And for me, step one is recognizing that sometimes you're the difficult person to work with. I'm the difficult person to work with, right? Like, I've had to learn the hard way, of course, like how to have empathy and compassion for like what's their perspective? Like, do you know that you come across as an a-hole? Like, can I educate you on that? And then how can we work together? Like, what do we have in common? Because as humans, we always have more in common than we're different, right? We want to make the other person is so different they're bad. But I mean, I hear you. I don't disagree. People are a-holes. And I have to be willing to admit that I've been the a-hole too. And so where
Yes,
do I need to course correct? We're going to help that other person course correct too.
yes, yes, and we've all been there. And being in the IT field, you work with people's emotions because as soon as something happens to the computer, it's like, oh my God, my computer broke. That's the first thing. And then
Yes.
it's, what did I do?
Yes.
So you have to go through calming them down
Yep.
first and then assuring them that we're going to get this resolved and then empowering them if you can, if it happens again, this is what you can do.
Oh, absolutely. I've trained a lot of folks in technology. I was blessed that, technology was evolving very quickly as I was coming into the workforce. I'm a Gen Xer, but I was just on that cusp. And so I was kind of that young person that kind of knew what was going on. And so I would train folks and I was training myself and I'm just a curious learner. So I was always learning how to do that stuff anyway. But what we have to remember in those moments, and this is true for any subject matter area in our businesses, it's not about whatever that piece of work is, right? It's not about the email, it's not about Outlook, it's not about Salesforce, it's about the insecurity that it triggered. And if you can help people calm their fears that they're going to break something or calm their fears that they did something wrong or if they press the save button, all hell's going to break loose, you can calm like 99% of those challenges right then and there. It's like, it's okay. Like, it's always okay to not press save, just press back. It's okay. You're not going to break anything. I promise you, you don't have access to break anything. It's all okay.
Yes.
But it's about their ego feeling insecure. It's not about the piece of technology. So if we
Mm-mm.
can connect in the moment on that, we can do good work together.
Yes. Yes, and that's how I work with my, users. I was like, "We're gonna be okay, don't worry about it, I got you." And then you have to know their personalities. Like, some people, they, like, want it yesterday, and then other people, they're gonna be patient, and
Yes.
they're gonna be you know, help you fix the problem. Like, if you tell them, "Push this, push that." Tell me what's on your screen, they're gonna be willing to help you with that.
Absolutely.
So, yes, it's like eh, and there's so many people afraid of computers, it's unreal. And it goes all the way up to execs. If it don't come on, they like, call tech. It could be unplugged, and that's all the only problem it is. So I
Yep.
love what you're doing because it's like the cultures in companies now, they must change in order to be able to thrive in the new with the new millenniums, the new attitudes of employees. Otherwise, it's no more that the good old buddy boy kind of, that structure back in the day. Maybe you don't, but I came up in the structure. Excuse me. I came up in the structure where it was like the people at the top was king
Yep.
and you did what I say, and you had nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, it's called the command and control structure. It's been dying a very ugly death in our cultures for probably about 10, 15 years. Um, there's certainly a lot of benefits to spreading out accountability, diffusing decision making, giving power and control to the right levels and at all levels, right? Like all levels deserve that autonomy. And there's an element that I think we're still in a tussle with our generations of you've got a lot of baby boomers and Gen Xers who are still ingrained in that command and control environment. And so they don't intend to, but it's easier for them to kind of move decision making off their plate because they're like, well, authority is important to me. And so if my boss, who has a bigger title than me, says this is how it is, this is how it is. Well, that comes at the expense of innovation because you're not applying your critical thinking, you're not questioning. And if your company is going to keep up with the rate of change for the 21st century, we need lots of people questioning and asking why and challenging the status quo.
But unfortunately, sometimes, that ego, God, I wish I could just get rid of ego altogether because
Oh, good
it
luck.
I know, because it crushes so much stuff. It's horrible. And when you have people, I like the word you used, accountability. When people have stake in the game, they want to do more.
Yes.
They feel
Always.
like they are a part of the solution, and they
Yep.
go beyond the call of duty.
Yep. Yes. That is the human way. I always try to remember, what all humans, regardless of generation, regardless of sector, regardless of where we're at in the world, the studies show that what humans want in the workplace is autonomy and meaning and connection.
Absolutely.
We can give that to our people regardless of what their role is.
Yes, absolutely. So if companies want to work with you, how do they do so?
Oh, thank you for asking. Check us out at thechangearchitects.com. If folks like the cut of my jib here, you can book a meeting with me and we can talk more about what your company might need. Check out our master classes. We have some really great online learning courses designed to teach these very real skills. Again, you can teach accountability, you can teach trust building, you can teach running meetings so that they're not a waste of time, as y'all know is near and dear to my heart. But at thechangearchitects.com is where you can find out all that info.
Awesome, awesome. So AI, let's talk about that. That's a definitely new technology on board where companies have to learn how to use it in order to benefit their company. So do
Mhm.
you do anything with that?
I think from my perspective, because we really focus on how humans change when they're working together, AI is the thing of the moment. 5 years ago, the thing of the moment was digital transformation. 10 years before that, it was moving to the cloud. There will be a next thing in my mind. And of course, AI is going to drive a lot of what the next things are. In my mind, this is about do you have people that know how to strategically use the next thing because they're
Yes,
ready for change and they know how to focus the organization and they know how your organization delivers value to this world, then because they know the strategy of the organization, they know how to use AI, not how do we use AI to deliver value to the world. That's not the right way of thinking. The right way of thinking is how do we choose to use AI to deliver our strategy, not how do we ask AI to deliver our strategy and deliver value to the world. And so I think
absolutely.
that's a really important distinction for moving forward, because there's always going to be the next thing that supposedly is going to disrupt the entire world. And very rarely does it just kind of innovates a bit. So
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's always going to be that next thing. And then my whole thing is, um, you don't need every shiny object
nope,
that comes out.
nope.
I'm one of those people, if it ain't broke, sometimes let it be. If
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. 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 Certainly that the like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Disagree. If it ain't broke, decide when you want to upgrade it. Like
Right,
be
exactly.
intentional about that investment.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely. Because I mean, I think about the grocery store. As soon as I know where everything is, they change it.
yes.
And I
Yeah.
gotta walk around much longer to find what I need to find.
Yes.
I hate it. I absolutely
You're
hate
just
it.
building new neural pathways. That's all you're doing, Ida. That's all that is.
I just want to get in and get out. And now they got me bagging my own stuff. I'm like, Lord have mercy. This is unreal. Wow. Stephanie, you are the bomb.com girl.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Make me blush.
This has been amazing.
I
Yes.
appreciate it so much. Thank you for this conversation and connection.
And you have the right attitude, to the right demeanor to go in and clean up messes, because that's probably what you do, clean up messes.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Get
Yep.
get people working together in a more harmonious way where they can get stuff done.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I mean, that's like I think we've lost like with all this noise of culture development, all that stuff, like I think we have to remember we come to work to deliver value to the world for ourselves and others. Like when the noise gets too loud, just go back to the basics. We are here to deliver value to the world for ourselves and others, like
yes.
we ain't got to church it up. Like it can be simple.
True that. Keep it simple, keep it stupid. You know what I mean? And then Rome wasn't built in a day. It
Nope.
takes teams.
Nope.
It takes people working together, using
Yep.
their expertise. You hired somebody because they had this on their resume, they had this expertise, and then you hire them and then you don't let them use it.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into that for sure. I noticed one of your recent guests was someone, that talked about how to bring Christian ministry and God into your life and your work and all of that. And I'm also a Christian, and I just think, there's the Bible verse about how, uh, uh, some of us are made to be the eye, and I'm going to stretch this a bit. Someone's designed to be the liver, and someone's designed to be the arm and the hand and the leg. We're not all of those things.
Right.
We're all parts of one body, and that's what an organization is too, is how can we be the best part that works
Yes.
symbiotically with other parts, not try to take over all the parts. It's again, I think it can be simple. I think it can be clear. I think it can just be like, I want to own this piece of it. I don't have to own the whole part. I just want
Right.
to do my part really well.
Yeah, and I want to do what you work with people's strengths, I think.
Yep.
They're good at this, let them be good at that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, and you have to, and then they feel comfortable because they're in their element, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. So again, how do people connect with you?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So our website is thechangearchitects.com. And all of our resources, blog, my podcast, the Hot Mess Hotline, and the availability of booking some time with me if you want to talk more about bringing what some of this hot mess fixing into your organization.
Yeah. So just give me an example of one hot mess that you had to deal with.
Yeah, so came into a smaller IT consulting company, and this was 2 years ago now. We've built upon these services, but the CEO reached out because he had a dysfunctional management team. He had 5 people that reported to him, and they were all coming to him to make decisions that they should have been making, and they were coming to him gossiping and complaining about the other management team member that wasn't doing what they were supposed to do, right? And so everyone thought they were right. No one was delivering on results. And at bottom line is they had a make or break project that they had to deliver on in 8 months, and it had to go super smoothly, or they were probably all going to lose their job because the board was going to fire them. Like it was that dire. And I hope no one's in that dire kind of make or break situation, but it was that dire. And I'll never forget the CEO said at the outstart, our team is too small. I will tackle this. I will do everything you tell me to do, except I will not fire anybody. Okay, I won't advise you to terminate anybody. That is certainly not within the span of what we do here. Because we are coaches first, and we believe in possibilities, and we believe in the possibilities of people upskilling and improving themselves and figuring out how to make a difference inside of your organization until they make a choice otherwise, and this isn't their place to, make a difference in the world. But I won't do that. So design and engagement started off with a series of workshops. We're 2 hours into the first workshop to equip this management team to work together. And everyone in the workshop, there was the management team, there was all five of them or so, five or six of them. All of them said, it's very clear we have to terminate this long-term employee. I said, oh, really? Okay. And then they like what happened was you saw how their problem solving abilities then got in the way of them taking action because the decision was very clear. And then it was all the noise of, well, but if we do that, then no one's going to do this and da 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 da. This gentleman was working maybe 2 hours a week on a good week for 15, 20 years, like there wasn't a lot that was going to be missed from this organization if this gentleman wasn't there. But it was the noise and the insecurity that they brought into their problem solving where you could see what stalled them out. And so I just said in the moment, stop. What's the best decision? The best decision is to let this person go so we can use this payroll expense for someone that could truly add leverage for the organization. Okay, great. I said, we're going to stop talking about this right now. In a week, I'm going to call you and say, what is your action plan for making this happen? But I'm going to get you out of the decision making spin that you get yourself in that stops you from taking action. And a week later, they made the best choice for this gentleman and for the organization and helped him exit gracefully so they could use those payroll dollars to fund someone that could provide leverage for their make or break project. And so that's what we do is we come in and we just guide people to get past the things that they've put in their way that stops them from making change, challenging the status quo. It's coaching at its finest where we are guides and we help people consider new perspectives and just think through old problems, instead of thinking about a problem by like staring at it like this up close. Think about the problem from 30,000 feet, right? Like, what do you see and learn and hear from this perspective that you don't when you've got, your eyes up close microscopically looking at it? It's a different perspective.
I like that approach. I like that approach a lot. So
Thank
I
you.
know you do a hell of a job because you have the right attitude and the right demeanor to help people make the changes they need to change. So thank you, Stephanie, for sharing your wisdom and your company with us. We truly appreciate you, and we're looking forward to more collaborations and hearing about more messes that you cleaned up.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Ida.